Good morning, folks. How are we all on this fine morning? And I mean fine morning. Hope you're all well. I don't have any messing about with Facebook today because I can't make the videos public until after they're finished in Facebook these days. Anyway, let's have a quick look who's in. Hi, Ackies, Jim Stevens, Steve Bankier, Barbara Lansborough, Indy Scott Bryan, Hashbury Stumbles, who's been out whacking weeds, and Hashbury, Scottish ministers can pass comment on devolved matters. They just don't have any influence, reserved matters, but they don't have any influence over them. But they're quite free to speak about them. Indy Scott Bryan. yeah. We'll get to the Herald in a minute. Indy Scott Bryan. Good morning, Class Action. I hope you're fine. It's no news headlines for dummies today. I'm afraid he's no here. And that's no way to talk about Mr. Milligan. Class Action. Wonderful. He's away to get a passport. Right then. Numbers are climbing no bad. So let's get this thing underway, shall we? Indy Truck Davy out the truck at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it is an absolutely wonderful morning, clear skies. I better get a wee update on the temperature because it's changing regularly. And it's 16 degrees. Expected high today at 1500 will be 19 degrees. Pollen count is high. So if, like me, you've got hay fever, it's a day for antihistamines. Okay. So that's what the weather's like here in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. If you wish to know what the weather's like where you are, look out your own bloody windy. Alright. First up this morning. Just for Indy Scott Bryan. We'll get the Herald, I believe. Where are we? Yep, the Herald. Senior SNP figures in talks to oust Swinney as leader after by-election. Now, Mr. Milligan will be chuffed with that headline. Now, Indy Scott Bryan says he's been given a fortnight to come up with a new independence strategy. And we've seen the mood music in the National yesterday. Guarantee Indy Ref 2 whether Westminster is going to allow it or no for the 2026 election. So, John's been backed into a corner here. And unless John decides to play ball with what other ministers want and other senior party members want, then he's going to be out the door. No having independence front and centre since John came to power has seen the support drift away, fracture and split. And if you take that by-election, they didn't even come out. Apart from a very low turnout, SNP vote was down 17%. And it wasn't that they voted for somebody else, it's just they didn't vote. Sean's no inspiring them, apparently. Right, let's take that one down. Next up, we've got the Rancid, and it's on a football story. As you know, I'm not putting the Rancid up. And that is Football Yob's crackdown call. SAP chief warns on a war on thugs. Mulroney wants banning orders because apparently Yobs at football matches, when they get lifted and go to court, they haven't been getting banned, they've just been getting fined. The head of the SFA wants the courts to start introducing more banning orders to keep these people away from football. Right, next up we'll get the Scotsman. What's the Scotsman got? Oh, Union dividends a day is the Scotsman. Oh, it must be at the top here this time, I think. No, that's a Herald still. Other end. Sorry about this, folks. We seem to have a bit of a mix-up here. Things are not where they're meant to be. Here we go, the Scotsman. 750 million supercomputer deal for capital and spending review. And Chancellor's also set to give the green light to funding for the Acorn carbon capture project. Well, if they want to throw money away, carbon capture's how to do it. It doesn't bloody work. But I guess this is sweeties being thrown at Scotland at this point in time. Because the natives are restless and the polls continually show a majority of Scots want out of this bloody union. The last 3 polls have been over 50% for leaving the union. 52, 54 and 54 has been the last 3 polls on the yes side of the argument. So this is the sweeties being offered in the spending review. Right, so there you go. Edinburgh University to get its supercomputer after all, after the funding was withdrawn and given to a town in England. Essex, I believe. Now the funding's been reinstated. I guess they realise that what's happening here in Scotland is just as bad as it is down that road. What happened in the Hamilton-Larkhall by-election? That's a fluke. Watch that one flip seat again next year at the general election, Scottish general election, when people actually turn out to vote. Provided the SNP get their act together and put independence back on the table, then people will get back out and vote. Take that one down. Next up, I believe, is the scum, and I don't put that up near a day. I don't put that up. So what's the scum got for us a day? It's on an animal cruelty story. And it's a barbaric abuse network. Mum caged after baby monkey torture terror. Scots rolling global gang. And apparently this woman posted 6 images of this baby monkey being tortured. So she's off to the clink, and apparently she's part of a global group who are trading torture movies of animals, as well as maybe animals as well. Okay, so that's the scum for you. Next up, a Daily Fail. See if we can find the bloody thing. Yeah. And it's got fury over plans to slash number of nappies for babies on wards at cash strap board. NHS chiefs to cut free nappies for newborns. And this is NHS Grampian, who are actually under direct control for the Scottish Government at this point in time, trying to get their spending under control. But there might be another reason for this. And it's a wee bit later in the papers. And the papers review this morning, the front pages this morning. And the other reason is probably more viable than trying to save £8 on nappies for wains. No likely. More scaremongering crap out of these rags. As I say, there is another reason for that. There could be another reason for that. So we'll get to that a wee bit further in. Next up this morning, we've got the other loony right-wing rags. Thanks, Peter. Thank you very much. Okay. The loony rag, the Express. What's it got for us this morning? Suspected victim numbers have risen by a third in first quarter of the year. Ministers must hang their heads in shame as drug death figures rockets. Well, actually, it's no. Oh, the first quarter of 2025, the number's down by 12 on the first quarter of 2024. But what is true is there have been more male deaths in this quarter than what there was in the quarter in 2024, the first quarter of 2024. Drug deaths rocketing? Nope. They're stalling a bit steady. But it's a mere nonsense. say if you look at the same quarter for 2024, there were 12 less deaths. Still too high. And as for ministers, no ministers, one minister should hang their head in shame. And that's the Home Secretary. Because this is the other bit of nonsense in this. It's the Home Secretary that should be holding their head in shame for drug deaths anywhere in these islands, because she's responsible for drug policy. It's a reserved matter. It's a reserved matter. As I say, if you can look the figures up, folks, there has been 12 less deaths in the first quarter of 2025 than what there was in the first quarter of 2024. So it isn't rocketing. Still too high. But the blame for this one doesn't lie at Holyrood's door. Right, take that down. Next up, we'll get the Telegraph, I believe. Or is it the Times? Times next up. Aye, Times in the Telegraph. What's the Times got for us this morning? 2 Israeli ministers face British travel ban. Whoopie-doo! Whoopie-doo! Apparently, they said some comments inciting violence. Comments inciting violence! I heard Netanyahu incite a genocide. 2 Israeli ministers face British travel ban. That's the sanctions, is it? We'll keep selling them fucking weapons to kill Palestinian children, but we'll ban 2 of their ministers for coming over to see their families. They probably don't even have British dual citizenship. They were probably never going to come here. And parties over, councillors told after drunken gathering exposed. Apparently along in Edinburgh City Council, they were getting pissed and fighting with each other. And apparently the rate of divorce has fallen, but splits more likely to end up in the courts when they happen. There you go. 2 Israeli ministers, my arse. This is just fucking mere appease the UK people after the Madeline, a UK flagged ship, was hijacked by the Israelis in international waters and the crew kidnapped. Thanks, Alistair. Thank you very much. We do need reform of the mainstream media. That is nonsense stuff we're getting in it. Right. The Telegraph, let's see what it's got. It's got more on the spending review, which is today. We'll be watching that. I cancel that now. Got what I was doing. Right, the Telegraph, what's it got for us today? The Telegraph's got Rayner drops laws on rough sleepers. Now, apparently, homelessness is to be decriminalised. There you go, folks. Homelessness to be decriminalised. As homelessness is on the rise, and there could be an explanation in some of the later papers on why homelessness could be on the rise. All right, but homelessness will be on the rise shortly, and is on the rise actually. So apparently they're going to drop the laws that criminalise being homeless, vagabond laws, if you like. Just build enough fucking hussies. Which will also be coming up shortly, I know. It'll be coming up shortly, I know. This spending review today is going to be interesting, I have to say. It's going to be fascinating. Right, so that was the Telegraph. Next up, we'll get a National. Yep. Next up, we'll get a National. The National's got Reeves National Insurance hike destroying jobs in Scotland. I would know. And absurd is the main headline. SNP MP calls out Labour government position as it sanctions extremist ministers yet still supplies weapons to Israel. Flynn vows Indy Scotland under SNP would sever diplomatic ties with Israel. I hope he spoke to the Jewish community. And another 20 people were killed in Gaza shooting near Gaza 8 point. And the byline here, the two bylines here at the side, the top one's the one that interests me when it comes to cutting the amount of nappies in NHS Grampian. Because the SNP are calling for immigration powers because of slump in births here in Scotland. We need people. We need young people. We need lots of young people. And funding for ACOM project and spending review. Well, as I say, one thing we know about Westminster, they're fucking great at wasting public money. And that's exactly what carbon capture is. It's a bloody waste of public money. There's no scheme on the planet that's actually worked. No one. As David and I have proven in the Two Davies shows, and we'll put up reports on it. So, to see if you want to know how to throw money away, just go to Westminster. They're fucking brilliant at it. Right. After the National, we've got the Eye. So, we'll put the Eye up. The Eye has. Rayner forces new housing pledge from Labour as asylum seekers face hotel eviction. Oh, what was that about? Rising homelessness? It's about to get through the fucking roof if these people are all thrown out of asylum hotels. Because where are they going to put them? Where are they going to put them? They're going to evict them all out of these hotels. Guess they're just going to go in the streets. I guess they're all going to hit the street. Funny how some of these stories today are linked, isn't it? Decriminalise homelessness, just as you're about to make an awful lot of people fucking homeless. Absolutely fantastic. Right, we'll take that down. Next up with The Guardian, which seems to keep creeping in here. And of course, there's never any Scottish stories in The Guardian. It's always English-based stories, yet for some reason it's in our paper review. Right, what's The Guardian got this morning? The Guardian has UK imposes sanctions on Israeli ministers for inciting violence. Inciting violence. They'll be fucking shouting about committing a genocide. They've been talking about wiping out every man, woman, child and beast. And their Amalek-style destruction of the Palestinian people. And spending on affordable housing to rise to 39 billion. No, it's not. That's what they're hoping private contractors will spend building homes. But as they build all these homes, the value of other people's homes drop. Which is probably not a bad thing. Actually. Pussies are not for profit, they're for living in. But for some reason, they seem to be for profit these days. But homes are for living in. You can find one. Find one you want to live in and stay there. But the other thing about people having to buy their homes, and it was the big con of Thatcher and selling off the social housing, was it really limited social mobility. When we all lived in social housing, if a job come up in another city, you had social housing to move to. So you could actually up and move to better yourself while moving through social housing. But let's see. and asylum seekers are about to be kicked out of here. Hotels, it's too expensive, so I guess they're going to end up in the street. And the Guardian, of course, with nonsense. Next up's the Metro. Let's stick it up. Ken died before gunman shoots himself dead. Revenge massacre at school. Police fear bullied former pupil 21 returned to gun down students in his old classroom. And this is a school shooting, surprisingly not in America, but in Austria, in the city of Graz. So, apparently this bullied school kid that never actually graduated got a gun somewhere, went back to his old school, went on a killing spree, and then popped himself in the school bathroom. Charmer. Absolute charmer, that boy. Absolute charmer. But, just shows you, but bullying can have some really, really negative outcomes. Some really negative outcomes. Right, now what's the star go for us a day? Shall we find out? Love the star, especially when it's on form like it is today. And the star has Area 51 cover up. The truth is out. Retired colonel, I planted UFO evidence. And this is a retired colonel who says he was sent out by his bosses to plant UFO evidence around Area 51 because, in truth, apparently it's a secret weapons testing facility. So there you go. Apparently, no aliens at Area 51. The story was concocted by the Pentagon to hide what they were doing at Area 51, which was secret work on weapons and aircraft and things like that, apparently. So there you go. No aliens at Area 51, folks. Sorry, the stars tell you it's not true. And if the star says it's not true, you can bet your boots it's not true. Quite a love the star. Haven't had the boffin in a while though. Bit disappointed in the boffins. Where have they been keeping themselves? Bit disappointing. I like a boffin or two. So does Alistair. Alistair likes a boffin or two too. England will be like LA shortly. With Stephen, you out there, ain't you, actually? The signs are all there. If you have a look at everything that's happening in America right now with Trump, most of it has already happened here. Crackdown on immigration. Been going on since Theresa May. Economic madness. Been going on since David Cameron. Crashing the economy. Liz Truss. Brexit. So, civil unrest is probably going to be the next step. And Starmer is an authoritarian Prime Minister. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely no doubt about it. And all this fucking tub thumping. I seen a headline the other day. UK at war with Russia. I said, fuck, I better kiss my arse goodbye. Fucking nonsense. But aye, civil unrest could well be on the way, Stephen. One hopes not. One hopes they decide not to set their own house on fire. Generally, that's the French. But it's been known to happen in England as well. Okie dokie. Well, that's it for this morning, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Some real crap in the papers. Drug deaths. That time of year again. You know, silliness about the NHS. Absolute nonsense in the spending review, apparently. We'll wait and see. That'll be on shortly. Probably right after Prime Ministers. So, we'll be watching that with interest. he says, laughingly. As you do know, folks, that the spending review will weigh out aspirations for the remainder of this part, the Westminster Parliament. Doesn't mean any of these things will actually happen. They're all just aspirations. We'll see you all tomorrow morning. Reagan Elite will probably catch you tonight if you're out, if you're on. Look after yourselves. Mind to check out Sir Larry the Cat's channel, quite funny, quite good stuff. So you look after yourselves. See you in the morning. Thanks for your contributions. Thanks to the moderators for moderating. Hit the like button on the way out the door, folks. It helps the algorithm. Bye for now.